So it's hard to see that. Like many people at the New School, I knew Kian, not as a heroic political figure, but as a sociologist and an urbanist. I think that his dedication to his profession and to his commitments were exemplary, and the tragedy of his circumstance is one that we all have to live with and hope to fight against. That type of fighting, his fight, our support of it, is what the panel today is right now is going to be about. When people speak to each other, act in each other's presence, and develop a capacity to act in concert, Hannah Arendt tells us, they actually are constituting political power, which she understood as being the opposite of coercion. And it's that type of political power that I think epitomizes the Green Movement, and it's the specter that haunts the Iranian authorities. What haunts the Iranian authorities, often publicly articulated, is the rainbow revolutions, the continuation of the Velvet Revolutions, which now appears as a Green Revolution. But we shouldn't think, as they sometimes do, of combatants and responding to them as combatants. What's involved is actually people getting on with their everyday tasks and their shared commitments. In the case of Kian, it's a question. The issue is actually the issue of being a dedicated urbanist, but he was understood as being a subversive. In this present panel, we're going to consider this type of principled activity and this type of constituted power from three different perspectives. We will consider what happens when religious figures continue a conversation about the relationship between religion and the state, and how that actually colors, gives shades and hues to the Green Revolution and to possible alternatives. This will be the paper of Nader Hashemi. We will consider as well artists and of various sorts and women as they get on with their daily lives and their commitments and actually create among themselves principled commitments that are alternatives to the regime. And this is the presentation of Sheda Jafari. Lastly, we will consider what people in the diaspora, the people abroad who have solidarity with the Green Movement, and what they can do in probably the most informed way to actually support the developing freedom movement in Iran. A much more profound support than comes in the form of state activities and discussions about boycotts and the like. So this is what we're going to be talking about, people who act in many ways despite their intentions heroically, who attempt to act normally in order to actually fulfill their conception of what their responsibilities are. So Nader Hashemi will be our first speaker. He's an assistant professor of Middle East and Islamic politics at the Joseph Corbell School of International Studies at the University of Denver. His areas of research and expertise include the Middle East and Islamic affairs, religion and democracy, secularism and comparative politics, and political theory, the politics of the Middle East, democracy and human rights, and Islam-West relations. Of course, it sounds like many different expertise, but it's actually a focused intellectual project. He is author of several articles and other publications, including most recently, Islam, Secularism, and Liberal Democracy Towards a Democratic Theory of Muslim Societies, published in 2009 by Oxford University Press. Our second speaker is Shada Jafari. Shada spent a year and a half in Iran writing articles for different news agencies about the artistic community in Tehran. Specifically, she wrote about the underground punk rock music scene. In 2001 and 2002, Shada worked at the UN World Populations Fund researching the reproductive health of African refugees in Iran. She returned to the US upon her arrest in February 2009. Shada is a grant writer and a technical writer for economic watchdog groups. She currently serves on the board of Where Is My Vote, the New York chapter. And the last speaker is Bida Mostofi, is an immigrant and a civil rights attorney. She has litigated cases involving asylum seekers, immigrant victims of domestic violence, constitutional violations, and discriminatory immigration procedures. She is the supervising attorney of the Iraqi Refugee Assistance Project at the NYU Law School. She is the co-founder of the organization Where Is My Vote New York, and has also served as the legal advisor for the civil rights organization, the Council on American Islamic Relations, New York. Bida has served on the editorial board of Electronic Iraq and helped establish Students for Justice in Palestine at DePaul University in Chicago. She has appeared on CNN, PBS, and unfortunately Fox, BBC, and NPR. That wasn't in my script. The adverb wasn't in my script. The Washington Post and various other publications and outlets and affiliates, Bida co-wrote Time for Solidarity with Iran with Bill Quigley, the legal director of the Center for Constitutional Rights in New York. So we are in for, I think, a special treat to actually see the inside of a political movement. One that, I have to add, I'm an expert on the opposition to a system that no longer exists, which means the Solidarity movement in Poland. And this view from the inside, this looking at what people are doing in their everyday life, is remarkably reminiscent to what I observed in those days, and reminiscent as well to the types of activity that the speaker before me, Arian Mack, was involved in her journal donations project. Thank you. Please.